Right there for the rebound for Arkansas.
One of the keys I'm keeping my eye on is how LSU is going to defend those ball screens against Higginbottom.
A victory over Albany in their last game. They've had some slow starts so far this year, but off to a great start here. Nice pass, good block from Flau'jae Johnson. And you can tell it's conference play already. There are
where she used to play.
Jenna Lawrence picked up the foul for Arkansas. And a travel on Carly Keats off to Sanchez. Shot clock is winding down. And off the
LSU, Poa got off to a slow start, had 3 turnovers in that Albany game, but first with a nice fancy assist and hitting that long-range 3.
Ojenua going up after her first 2 years at Arkansas. So this is her first action this season after a year off. Higginbottom, way off the mark. A family passes here tonight. I think she told us 21 people are going to be in attendance.
And you can hear the cheers, and you can also hear a couple of.
And a steal for LSU. Johnson finishes. Dipsy-doos that one in.
Yeah, another little finger roll for Higginbottom.
Johnson just inside the three-point line. Wolfenbarger with the follow.
Offensively and defensively. They're doing it on that end, but that's how you answer it big for Arkansas as Stotine coming into the game and hitting that big.
Phoenix Stotine over on the right wing, number 1, really has taken some of the pressure off of Higginbottom. It's fun to see. She just had her birthday on December 29th.
A couple days ago.
And we saw that picture of her celebration. Stotine trying to get a handle on it as the shot clock winds down. We're at 6. Carly Keats by as many as 14. They were up 18-4. And Keats can't get that one to go.
More that's going to expand and open up the offense for more players like Izzy and Stotine. I know Genoa on the inside.
Williams spinning. Stotine being hounded out top by Day Wilson. That one have her jersey on. She just had her undergarments on her sport, but she had to run to the locker room, and now she's back into the game.
She must have been so focused on the game, ready to celebrate, like Brandy Chastain back in the day.
LSU up by 8. LSU, as you see on the screen there, hasn't hit a field goal in almost 4 minutes. Gilbert rises up, averaged 15 points a game last year for the Wildcats before transferring to LSU, and then a foul called. About a 13-second difference here between the game clock and shot clock. That's what Higginbottom does extremely well.
You saw
in the corner. 3 seconds remaining in the quarter. Over to Day Wilson, and she can't. And that's resulted in 9 second chance points that has really made the difference. Nice fake, and then an on
and 1. So they're playing man-to-man defense on Johnson. Everyone else is in a zone. What's key here is rotating and being able to box out. So Higginbottom will have the ball in her hands about 90% of the time coming off of ball screens.
Sanchez has it blocked. Flau'jae Johnson really face guarding her in that diamond and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Nice pass, one under Day Wilson.
And she's playing against some of the best defenders in the entire nation to still be able to get that off the dribble.
Morrow scores in the paint. How she plays in conference play, but she's gotten up some nice shots early. There's some of that defense right there.
Yep.
4 on the shot clock. Higginbottom has it knocked in.
For LSU, you see Coach Mulkey talking about what they're going to do on probably a lob play.
There they are to Higginbottom. She comes off a couple of screens. Not this time. And it's significant that Poa has hit a couple of three-pointers because she has not hit one all season long. That's impressive.
It's super impressive. She's playing against some of the top one-on-one defenders, but she's actually getting double and triple teams anytime she goes into the lane. And there it is again.
12 of the 20 points for Arkansas. That's not unusual. She leads this team in scoring with over 23 points a game. Leads the SEC.
Starting to sweat over here.
So it was a good thing when we walked in. It was pretty cool in Bud Walton Arena. Top of the key, Kiki Smith.
Well, I know, Brenda, you and I love these kind of games when we get up and down, have great ESPN type of plays, but this is in favor of LSU. And if Arkansas wants to continue, that's where they're finding the Tigers.
Jersey Wolfenbarger, coming back to where she played her first 2 seasons, already has more than her. A couple of substitutions into the game. And Poa with the travel.
Asterisk that she's actually been taking that against 2 and 3 players every single time. This wasn't just one-on-one coverage. Look at Stowtine with a little crossover.
And we knew that Arkansas would want to junk it up today, and you've already mentioned that a little bit as So a foul on this end committed on Poa. That sends Higginbottom to the line once again, and this is a part of almost 90% from the free throw line.
That's just a pure shooter right there, and she goes to the free throw line about 8 times per game. I'm surprised.
The bench always gets it, right? the players on the floor turn it over, and then the coach turns around and makes sure that the bench the other end. Johnson off the mark that time. Through to Lawrence, and Johnson able to retrieve it. Steps inside, and then Carly Keith, who's on YouTube for that one. Tough shot for Stowtine. She's the leading scorer off the bench for LSU. Had some big shots in their wins, their comeback wins over Washington and Stanford. 7 and 8 on the year. Probably their best win was in the SEC ACC Challenge when they beat Boston College.
It's a little too loose with the ball right now for.
Bended rises up.
And for LSU, that's not the shot they want to look for because that's a zone, a sagging zone. You want something.
Arkansas. Higginbottom is being smothered right now by Poa. And Morrow.
LSU going to defend those ball screens, but more importantly, how is Arkansas going to handle their offense? Because through this LSU defense on these screens, now you see her go against 3.
Bottom leading the way for Arkansas with 16 of the 26 points for the Razorbacks. And she gets called for an Ponanen into the game. Number 16 for Arkansas. Shot clock is off.
She'll be ready to take it.
Splits a couple of defenders, makes the right pass. Morrow there with a rebound and put back, the leading rebounder. So 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, and they have the ball to start this second half. Wolfenbarger missed.
It'll be hard, but that's the only way to chip away at this lead.
Ogenua in traffic. Johnson pulls it back. LSU, number 2 in the SEC in scoring.
Behind and step back. You know Johnson's been practicing that.
And a jump ball this time for Arkansas has really been held in check.
That's one of the things Coach Neighbors emphasizes that during.
Last here, Poa passes inside to Wolfenbarger. It's stolen away. And right there is Morrow. We have seen her. I happen to know one of her coaches of her mom at the University of Nebraska.
I love that. We talk about competitive. Talking to
Poa now with 3 of 4 from beyond the arc against Arkansas.
And that's what it's called stepping up, because you knew what the scouting report was going to.
Poa was so important to them in their national championship run a couple of years ago and just hasn't quite got going offensively this year. Still looking for her first basket of the game. And Smith is a player that averages almost 12 a game. 3 rebounds away, but it's so much fun for me to finally get a chance to call Anissa's game because I've been watching her from afar, knowing the feast.
And if I remember hearing you correctly, remember you said that team was pretty good that she played on, right, at Nebraska?
And she led us to our first NCAA.
Looking good, by the way, in those photos. And if we didn't mention it, her dad, Ed, was a linebacker. Can you imagine? That's also where she gets her physicality and her competitive. Said, oh, well, yeah, I always beat them until I realized I couldn't beat them anymore, and then she stopped playing them. So all of their kids.
Foul.
Reason LSU just was able to go back to UIC actually right before the break in Chicago, and Anissa had her jersey retired then, as you see.
So another shout out to Kim Mulkey as well, taking her back to her hometown for that opportunity. Carly Keats, 5 as Michaela Williams finishes that three-point play. What do you think, Ann, as far as number of teams from the SEC that may potentially go to the end, be 2.5 points a game?
Well, and Coach Mulkey always says, well, we want to give our fans a show. We don't want to disappoint them. So they always want to get up, and said was, of course, we've been winning and closing out games. So LSU just right on the right track and building the momentum coming into SEC play.
You saw Flau'jae Johnson
To go get a rebound. That's what Coach Mulkey says. You want points, go get a rebound. And the bigs do that. Also, the guards are always flying in for those boards.
Gilbert hoists up a three. Carly Keats, just 3 points.
It's around her and Izzy on that guard play.
Sanchez missing, and a nice hustle play by Carly Johnson, who misses a nice pass over to Del Rosario. Her first points of the game. Just 2 years away from a national championship in 2023. Shot clock winding down, and Higginbottom can't get the ball to go. Of years in women's basketball, and LSU and Kim Mulkey have been right in the thick of it. And a foul will send at 4 p.m. Both games are also available on the ESPN app. A whistle and a foul on I believe it's, I don't know the exact number of years. She talked to me about it just a few games ago. But it's something in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 years that she has been.
He heard us kick off SEC play.
Gilbert, not able to.
Breaks. They're so quick, but she manages to. And that's also a ton of travel on her schedule, going to so many different conferences and games. Great to see her.
Opportunity to see some of those players off the bench for LSU, getting some SEC time. The steal and miracle. Oh, and the kick ball by Higginbottom. Still seeing a double team every time she touches the ball. Came at Miami and has transferred over here to LSU. 3 seconds remaining in the quarter. Gilbert up and under the defender.
Up a ton of opportunities even in the WNBA and for the following there.
Start of the fourth quarter here in Fayetteville as LSU. All those players advancing in the WNBA and the attention that has drawn to the WNBA as well. As Carly
love to play defense. And so far, in the season, there's a lot of WNBA scouts around probably watching this game too, and they're able to see that. Probably also watching Izzy Higginbottom.
It's, yeah, speaking of WNBA royalty, as the rebound is corralled. Playing, having the opportunity to play for Simone Augustus.
And learn from her. She was a WNBA champion as well. And it's podcast and have where she interviewed Simone Augustus on there. She's like, couldn't believe that she had a statue out in front. But there's a really cool story.
Speech when she was inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Go look it up on YouTube. It is one of the best speeches ever for a Naismith.
Garth Brooks calling Baton Rouge, because you can't go anywhere in Baton Rouge, Louisiana without hearing that song. Even in shoot around when most of the songs were.
Louisiana made 1 of 2 free throws on the other end. Kiki Smith, it's been a tough night for Smith as she points a game. Higginbottom out to Smith. See if she can get that basket and finally. Flau'jae Johnson and Anissa Morrow going to go to the bench along. Higginbottom steps back, and even with Arkansas actually on a little run here, an 11-1 run for the Razorbacks. And so, as you watch this year, and I hope the scoreboard gets checked ahead of time because it might be smoking by the end of that
electric.
game.
Yeah, electric's going to be.
The Tigers, resulting in 22 second chance points.
Extra possessions. They want to have more than 70 possessions per game, and that's getting extra shots on the board. How you do that is taking care of the ball and then hitting the offensive. It's always when we talk about turnovers or something like that, it happens.
Carly Keats.
And as we were going to break before that timeout, is that there's always a game within. That's the kind of thing you want to see from your bench, is that you have 13 to 15 players. You're looking at rotations. You're seeing who works well together in that plus-minus column. Carly Keats, an extra strategy and execution here.
8 points now for Carly Keats. A couple of three-pointers. Keats, not this time. And Carly Keats getting a nice rhythm here. And this is, you talked about what teams can take from this. Even just a little bit of confidence in the
scoreboard. That's momentum going into the next game. And especially you need that coming into SEC play, because it's always a new day. It's always a new game.
And Stotine with the miss. Sanchez rebounding. Smith with another three-point attempt. Like what Kaylin Gilbert adds to this LSU squad. The transfer from Arizona, played there her freshman and sophomore seasons. 6 points with 40 seconds. And big shots by Kaylin Gilbert and others to come back to kind of preserve them being undefeated right now. And then, of course, Auburn, never an easy place to play at. So we talked to Mike Neighbors today. He was like, this schedule,
graduation or the transfer portal. So new players who are getting experience, and even in this game for 40 minutes, I say, keep playing your heart out and keep learning.
As Cheyenne Day Wilson.
The lowest team's record in the SEC is 10-3. So that's going to be a gauntlet of men's basketball as well.
LSU, under a minute to play. Led by Kaylin Gilbert with 16, Flau'jae Johnson 15, Morrow had 11 behind.
We've talked about that in the fourth quarter, of where you're always learning and growing, and I really recommend it. He's had people internationally say that, hey, I've watched your
Carly Keats. So LSU coming in to